But enough about me. Let's talk about what is product operations. And I want to talk about this in terms of the function within the business before we talk about the role itself. Product operations in many businesses, and let's stick with software businesses for the moment, has actually always been there as a function. It's the way that the teams operate, the product teams operate, the way the business operates when it talks to the product division or works with the product division. It's how the teams work. It's the processes that are in place to enable the software to get out the door, for the products and services to operate, from people to go from A to B to C. And any business that you're working in right now, you will absolutely be doing elements of product operations. You probably just don't necessarily know it. It's it's elements of the software development lifecycle. How does it go from idea to into development, out the door the other side? How does the designs all come together? How do people communicate and collaborate together? How do we report what we're doing to the higher ups in the business to make sure that we're on track, that we are meeting our expectations, that we are delivering value? All of these things are ways of working, our processes, our assets. And so much of this is actually rooted in product operations. Without process, the business just fundamentally just doesn't function. Um, so it's ways of working, it's processes, it's the way that we communicate. I'm very, very passionate in particular about communications, and I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But communications is absolutely at the heart of everything that we do anyway, how we communicate to one another and how we impart information. In product operations, we tend to look a lot at the way that we communicate, what we're communicating, the value that we are imparting on one another, and even down to what does the audience, the people that we're talking to, what can they understand? What terminology are we using? And more on that a little bit later on. It's about looking at the collaboration. It's looking at the way that we hold meetings. It's about the cadence of meetings, the order and the structure of those, to make sure that they are that we are being efficient in what we're doing, and sometimes looking at, do we even need meetings at all? If you kind of follow any kind of news in this area, there's such a push right now to say, let's get rid of as many meetings as possible. Why do we have meetings, and how do we make best use of that time? Um, at my role at Helios right now, we are actively looking to say, how do we become more asynchronous in what we do? Actually, do we need so many meetings? What's the expense of a particular meeting? A very good example, we hold a product demo every 2 weeks. We did one just yesterday. We have about 120 staff from the 1,000 odd people that are in the business attend this meeting, from the CEO all the way down to the teams on the ground. And we can actually calculate in terms of salaries how expensive that meeting is, and it will run into the hundreds of thousands of pounds, and that's jolly expensive. So we need to we need to be aware of this, and make sure that we are delivering some good value for that expense. And a big area as well is also looking at data. So the data that we use to help us make our decisions in the business, all across the business, is rooted in some very key parts of our product or our service, our sales are, our internal performance. We are going to be analysing that. We already are. Businesses have been doing that forever. Product operations gets heavily involved in this as well.